Hello everybody, today I am talking about FrightFest Halloween Alldayer 2019. There were 6 films that showed on this day, and those 6 films were Candy Corn, We Summon the Darkness, Uncanny Annie, Swallow, Trick, and Scare Package. There was also the short film The Haunted Swordsman, which showed before We Summon the Darkness. One of the organisers did approach me at this after We Summon the Darkness and said, "Oh, did you like that? I've seen you on the YouTube. You always say I didn't like that film, didn't like that film." There's too much negativity online. We shouldn't be negative about movies. We should always be giving them good reviews, because, you know, if we are always negative about films, then these people will stop making movies. And it's tell me that a lot of hard work goes into these movies, and I've never made a movie, never made a short film or anything in my life, so I don't understand any of the hard work that goes into these movies. Not at all, not at all. And I'm not a stand-up comedian that gets reviews and does shows and lets reviewers in to review my show to tell me if my show's bad or not, even though I've put so much hard work into it, because I wouldn't know, because I'm not Essex Comedian of the Year 2019. Look, I'm going to be... if we don't give our opinions on movies, people won't learn. We've got to give our opinions. We've got to make these people know that if their film's bad, I'm sorry, like, I pay money to go to these festivals and enjoy these films, and I'm going to talk about them today. And let's start with Candy Corn. Candy Corn has a fun idea. It's about a guy that gets beaten up by these people, dies from that, and then is brought back to life and is now going to get his revenge. A story that we have seen many times before, but it's called Candy Corn because he stuffs candy corn into people's mouths to kill them. But Candy Corn, I feel really mean saying this, is the Room equivalent, horror equivalent, okay? You know, The Room is such a bad movie with its script and dialogue and how people act in that film. This is the equivalent of that. It's a horror equivalent of The Room. And it's just really weird. There's this weird slow motion that gets put throughout where it's really jolty. There's one point where this police officer gets introduced into it and he just keeps looking around very confused, and it's laughable, some of the lines he delivers. There's just very laughable moments to this, and I went into this knowing that it was a 3.8 on IMDb. I don't think it deserves that low of a rating, but it wasn't the best start to the day. Then after Candy Corn, we had We Summon the Darkness, which was first a short film shown beforehand called The Haunted Swordsman, which is about a swordsman who is going on a quest to find who murdered someone, and he carries around this little head with him, and the puppetry is incredible in this. The whole film looks incredible. The start of it, it's like, how is this puppetry? Because at first it looks quite real, and then when you see its puppets, it is very, very well done. Everything was brilliant about this, and this, even though it's a short film, was my favourite thing of the day. And it was followed by We Summon the Darkness, which is about these 3 women that they're on a road trip. They go to this heavy metal concert, meet these 3 guys there, and then they go back to a house for a party, and then things get a bit weird. This is sort of an idea that we've seen before, but it was like a satanic cult ritual type film, but with a little bit of a twist in there. It had its fun moments. There was some good ideas in here, but it started out well and then did start to drag quite a bit. It sort of felt a bit overlong. Johnny Knoxville was in here, giving some very serious acting. And yeah, it's fun at points. It wasn't the best film of the day, but it was fun. It was fun. Then this was followed by Uncanny Annie, which is part of the Into the Dark Blumhouse TV production. This is it was a television episode, but every single episode of the show is feature length. So this was an hour and a half, and Uncanny Annie is about these group of friends on a Halloween night. They're just going to stay in and play board games, but then one of them finds a board game down in the basement. You know how it is, and that board game is now going to mess with them. This did feel like a big TV production just because of some of the things it did, and I think it's something that I would have preferred to watch on TV, which sounds weird to say. It was fun to see on the big screen, and there are some fun moments and good ideas in here. It was sort of said as Jumanji with blood, but yeah, there's a few good moments here, but it was quite basic with things it did. I wanted it to go bigger and further with this idea, but it's still a fun film, and I think if you get the chance to see Uncanny Annie, which is now on Hulu, streaming on there, then do check it out. Then the next film was Swallow, which a lot of people on Twitter were complaining about, saying, "Oh, this shouldn't have played at FrightFest," and one of the organisers saying, "Oh, but we are the dark heart of cinema. That's what the sort of things we show." But also, in my opinion, I don't think it should have shown at Fright Fest. I think it's a film that looks great. The acting is brilliant. The main star in the film, she is brilliant and gives a fantastic performance. It is the story of a woman who is sort of got into a relationship with this very rich man. They're living in this lovely house. She gets pregnant, but then decides to start swallowing random objects in the house, starting off with a marble, then going on to bigger things. And it's an odd one. It's an odd one because I feel like it was in this because there's this sort of moments of hospital scenes and sort of little things that can sort of weird you out, but it wasn't completely horror. It's more a drama with little bits of weirdness in there. I think it's got its good moments, but I do think it's a film that dragged, and like I said, don't think it should have been at Fright Fest, but I still don't think it was a bad film, but it wasn't really one that got me excited for... I know they've said, oh, but if we kept showing horror comedies and things, then the festival wouldn't be as good, but this, I think there was a lot of people that did wonder why it was at Fright Fest, but I understand. We've always got to have these different genre pieces. And the next film was Trick, which is about a guy that kills all these people at this Halloween party, and then gets killed by the police, but then comes back a year later to kill people over Halloween, and then it starts in 2016, goes right up to 2019, and the police trying to stop this killer called Trick. Trick started out as a fun slasher, and the opening was very over the top, and there are some very over the top ridiculous moments, but then it turned into an episode of CSI and Home and Away, pretty much. There was some of the soap opera acting at points, and like I said, there are fun moments. It's a fun little slasher at times, but from that first opening and it being good from the start, it then goes into these weird things where there's a chase scene that happens at one point, but you get completely drawn out of the chase scene because there's people jumping over fences, but they've put a GoPro below the people when they jump over, and it just looks very messy. There are scenes where you can tell that someone's just like, I've just got a drone, can we film this scene with a drone? And they just throw that in there, and it just becomes quite messy looking, and there's something to do with the ending which you see very obviously at one point, but they want to be like, hey, clever, look at this ending, and it just becomes incredibly messy with what it does. Jamie Kennedy comes in this from Scream, you know, the horror genius in Scream. Loved him in that. Bit of a weird doctor surgeon in this. Tom Atkins, I was very excited to see Tom Atkins in this because that guy is fantastic. I recently watched Halloween 3 with him in again, and he is just brilliant in that. And in this, very underused. Got some good lines, some good moments, but I just wish he had been in a bit more. But Trick, it's an alright slasher, but there's some messy moments to it. Then the night closed with Scare Package, which is an anthology movie from 7 different directors, and the anthology is doing all the tropes of horror, like the people's phones not working, or the electricity getting cut off, those type of things. And this started out very, very fun with these ridiculous, over-the-top gore, and just that, the first short in there is hilarious and brilliant, just so over-the-top. And there are some other over-the-top moments in this. It is one that flows very well, but it begins to drag sort of round near the end, just with... It wants to keep on talking about the horror tropes and showing all of this, but it just drags itself out a bit more, and I wish it had been sort of almost the same as the start. I know with anthologies you want them all to be different, and it's nice to see all these different things, and I think there are some very creative choices in here, and it is a really fun horror anthology, which I would watch again, but it just overran a little bit for me. Just what I mean, I don't think this was the best FrightFest lineup. I think we've had better lineups than this, but I still think there were some good films. There wasn't anything that blew me away yesterday, I'll say that. I'll say that The Haunted Swordsman did blow me away because that was great, and I really want to see a feature length for that, but there wasn't anything where I was like, this is incredible, I want to watch this again, which is a shame. But, you know, this is my opinion, and even the organiser to me, everyone's got their own opinion, so you're allowed to say what you want. And I've been reviewing movies for a very long time now, so I'm always going to say how I feel about these. I'm not just going to sit here and be like, all of these are great, they're all brilliant, check them out, because that would be wrong of me. I've got to say exactly how I feel about them. So if you were at the FrightFest Halloween Alldayer, say in the comments down below what film is your favourite. I think mine was Scare Package out of all of them, and the short The Haunted Swordsman, but let's talk about that. And in the comments down below, say what films you want me to review soon or whatever, because I need to get back to reviewing, because I haven't reviewed stuff. I could have reviewed The Irishman ages ago, just didn't bother because didn't love that film like everyone else. But that is all for me today. Thank you very much. I'll see you all again very, very soon. Goodbye.